Would you look at that? This is the new Mini Countryman John Cooper Works, and doesn't it look grown up? It's bigger, it looks sharper, and it's just a beautiful looking car. And it comes in different versions as well. We're gonna get the Mini Countryman E, we're gonna get the Mini Countryman SE, which is also all 4. And it's also gonna come in 3 different combustion engine versions. So we're gonna get the Mini Countryman S, which is all 4. We're gonna get the Mini Countryman C, and we're gonna get this one, which is the Mini Countryman John Cooper Works. And breathe. Basically, this is the one you wanna go for. This is the one that's packing everything you can think of. And it comes in the level 3 trim level as well, because you can get level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 2 gives you all that Harman Kardon sound system. Level 3 gives you just a bit more things like electronically controlled seats, for example, and I think massage seats as well. So we're gonna talk about all that when we get inside, but let's start with the front of the car and talk about this. So as always, Mini John Cooper Works, when we hear that name John Cooper Works, it means sports, it means sharper ride, it means a better looking vehicle. We've got the badge on the front there, we've got the blacked out Mini logo, which looks fantastic. Couple of indentations there, including that little body scoop. Can we call that a scoop? Anyway, it looks nice and sporty, it looks really nice there. I love all the flag sort of language, design language all around it as well. By the way, sorry, it's a bit dirty because I've actually been driving it around to test how it handles on different terrains. And this happened to be one of them, a little bit of a beach situation. And then we look at the headlights. They look really good as well, which you can also change the patterns. You can change to different light patterns, which looks great as well. I love all the little red detailing all around it as well. Believe it or not, this is actually the color called Legendary Gray, but I'm seeing a bit of a green color here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's go over to the side. Starting from the front, so the alloys here, we get 20 inch alloys, just because this is the sport level, this is John Cooper Works level, and also sports brake system as well to make it high performance braking system, they call it, which looks really good. I love the red finishing on there as well. The pattern on the alloys again matches those front grille with a sort of racing pattern that we get all around the car. And then we move further down, we get a slight indentation on the side, flush door handles, a bit of red detailing on there. As you can see, his touch is already reacted to what I'm doing over there. And then we've got the roof rails as well. Come towards the back, we get the John Cooper Works big badge clad in, whatever you want to call this, on the side. But I love the logo. I love all 4 on there as well. It just looks really sharp and just all round nice. I love what they've done. And it's got a bit of a shoulder to it as well. Makes it look a bit, beefed up on the back, which is fantastic. And then over on the back, the tail lights can also change to different patterns as well, which looks fantastic. I think it's pretty cool, it makes it fun. And then John Cooper Works there, I love the works in red. And then the Countryman on the back, it just sits really nicely in this blacked out color with the logo as well, matches, got a nice little roof spoiler on there as well. And I love the exhaust, they look so sporty, look at them, quad exhaust going on here. And then let's open up the boot. We've got power tailgate to help you get in the boot. And this gives you 460 litres of boot space, and the seats comes in a 40-20-40 configuration, which is helpful. You can also push them down to get a bit more boot space in there. And then underneath here, there's a bit of space as well to store extra things if you want to store more stuff. It goes all the way to the back as well, which is interesting. You might be able to remove this completely so you get deeper boot space to store more stuff, which is great idea. But yeah, great boot space. Well, good news is, backseat passenger have plenty of space here. Look, I'm sat here, this is my driving position on the front. There's plenty of knee room, plenty of space for my feet. I can dangle them as much as I want. And one thing I love is the fact that the seats kind of laid back a little bit, so I can sit very laid back in the back and just enjoy the ride. And also, you can actually move the seats as well, so I can move it forward. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but as you can see, at that point, there's no knee room. But you can move this all the way back like so, and then it's back to normal again, and it feels nice and comfortable. I love the soft material that's used here as well. Love the finishing under the pattern, the John Cooper Works patterns, and also armrest here with 2 cup holders, so pretty standard. And then we have 2 USB-C ports. There's no climate control for the back passengers, all controlled at the front by the driver, and plenty of headroom, like loads of headroom, even if you're sat in the middle. So middle passengers here, they also get big headroom as well. And this big panoramic sunroof that goes from the front to the back means it just feels a bit more airy. It feels like there's plenty of space in here. And you've got your back pockets here as well to store things. And it's just really nice at the back. I think it's very, very comfortable. And there's not much more to say about it apart from good materials. I even love the fabric on the door as well. Nice door cabin to store big bottles in there. It's just very well thought through. It's a big car at the end of the day, so it means we should get a lot of space in the car. I can't wait to see the electric version to see what they do with this in terms of the space inside as well. So that's pretty cool. Let's have a look at the front. Up front, the level of detail continues here. I think common story here around the car is the level of detail, tiny, minute detail you see here and there. For example, on the steering wheel, there's a little fabric here that's used for the third spoke on the steering wheel. Got John Cooper Works there. You got paddle shift on there as well with boost on there. It's got the sensor in there to watch me, to make sure I'm alert, I'm not falling asleep. You have head-up display over there. And this is the sport trim as well in terms of the fabric used. So you get this little red lines all around the fabric on the dash. We have wireless charging mat over here, which is nice and big, so you can place a big phone like the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We still get some toggles here and there, so for like your gear shifter, your electronic brakes, and you got your engine switch. But what I love about this engine switch is the way the position is, so it still feels like you're turning the key, and that's pretty smart. And then you got your experiences, which we'll talk about as well when we bring the camera around. You've got a little space here, put stuff in there, hide them away, and I love the finishing on here as well. Again, the tab again is here to add to the, the detail, the design detail. One thing I wish they did though is being able to move this forwards and backwards wherever you want to place it. That would have been nice. You've got your armrest here, which you can move backwards and forwards. You've got 12-volt socket there and 2 USB-C ports. There's another space here to store things, just so they don't move around, rubber grip on there. And then I love, again, the seats. It just feels nice and comfortable. Love the material, just the extra detail that's on there. And in front of us, we have this 9-inch display. I think it's around 9-inch or so. And it's the first time they've used a round OLED display in a car. And I think if you look back years ago, you'll be thinking of OLED inside of a car for a display. That's something that's used on a phone, laptops, TVs, and stuff like that. To bring that level of quality here is fantastic. And then you get Harman Kardon sound system, which comes as an extra as well, depending on which level you decide to go for. One of the downsides of having the fabric material in the car is if you have pets and stuff like that and they have hair all over the car, this is the kind of stuff you're going to be getting. It's going to be stuck to this material, and then you're going to have to keep cleaning this, and it can become quite annoying. But I think all around here, it's very plush, very comfortable, feels cozy, and there's plenty of space, and it's just really nice. Let's talk about this though. This is where there's some tech and some fun. So this is the main display. So for example, this is where everything is controlled. And if you don't have that head-up display, for example, so you haven't got the level 3, for example, what you don't get is those information that you'd otherwise normally have in front of you for the instrument cluster. So now we rely on this for everything, basically. So if I click home here, it gives me all this regular information. So like quick things that I can see, like navigation and so on. And this supports Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And as you can see, it's got a bit of like a slow gesture to it as you're sliding across. It's not as responsive as I'd hope it'd be. This is OLED, which means deeper blacks, and it's just brighter and sharper. It's just nicer, especially when it comes to the gaming side of things. That'll be really good as well. And then if you want to control climate control, there is really there. And then you got radio, navigation, phone calls, and so on. We press this. This will give us the rest of the icons. You did get this like segmented areas. So for example, if we go to infotainment, it gives us all the infotainment things that you can do. For example, it's got the assistant system there, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You've got things like interior camera, so you can take pictures, record your journey. For example, we've got video system, so you can watch videos in here using TiVo. You got Air Console games, so you can connect your smartphone to this, for example, and start gaming on this screen, which again is pretty cool to have, especially if you're stationary and you want to entertain your kids, for example. That'd be really cool. And then you got vehicle settings. This is where you can do your personal ID, personal assistant. So you got Spike as your personal assistant, which didn't completely work properly. I tried to use it to turn off the climate control in the car, and it just didn't respond. And it's probably just because it's something that they can update over their updates as well. So it probably will get better over time, which I hope it will do. And then you got things like driver recorder, you got driving settings, which you can then adjust all your driver assistance stuff. So safety stuff, so like safety and warning, whilst driving, parking, and so on. So if you go safety and warning, for example, just some of them, you got front collision warning, lane departure warning, lane change warning, and etc. So you got a few things that's available there, and that sensor that I was talking about earlier would help with attentiveness assistant. And then you press back to go back again. You got driving and parking. In fact, let's go to parking so you can see some of the parking available. So things like sound and so on show parking information. Then you got your drivetrain system. So you can have your mini sound on there. You can deactivate stuff, and you got all these options available. So there for you to play with. And then we have this thing called experiences. So If we tap into experiences, also there's a toggle down here for that as well. So you have core, which is just the basic one, the standard one. We go up ever so slightly to green, gives you all like green stuff. So like your energy consumption level, as you can see, even makes a sound to let you know when it's done. And in fact, let's go home. You might see the difference now. So you can see there, it's all green and different and whatnot. We go back to that experiences, next one, which is vivid. So everything becomes nice and vivid. You got timeless. And then personal is when you can actually add your own photo as well. So like family photo, you can add it on there, which is there we go, another sound, which is a really nice touch to have. It makes it personable, I think. So your ads there, you can go across and add different photos, and using the app, I think you can upload your own as well. So again, like I say, you can have family photo on there and whatnot. I think that's pretty cool to have in the car. I don't mind that at all. You got things like journey data, parking there as well. So you got parking sensors and camera all around the car. You can even have 3D one as well. So you can see all around the car. We're on the beach. Woo! No, we're not, but you can see what I mean. We're on the sand. You can see all around the car right there, which is pretty cool. And then we have things like your vehicle status. Just, like I said, just go through it. There's a bunch of stuff on there that you can play with, including even the ambient lighting in the car as well. And you can also go to recently used, so you can quickly access things that you've done before. You can use your phone as well, like I said, to connect to the car and view things like the inside camera remotely if you need to do so. But yeah, that's basically it over here. It's nice and simple to use. At times it's slow, like you can see they're sluggish to move across and stuff, but when it works well, it works really well. And I hope that gets better and better as they update it over time. So here we are on the road in the Mini Countryman John Cooper Works. Just some numbers out of the way. This is still the same 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. I say the same, but same sort of figures. You're looking at 400 Newton meters of torque, around about 300 horsepower, 0 to 62 in 5.4 seconds. So it's quite punchy. It's actually lower than the outgoing version, which was, I think, 5.1 seconds. But you won't really notice that. That's very minute in the grand scheme of things. So earlier on, we were talking about the visibility in the car in terms of the screens, rather than visibility. We were talking about the fact that if you don't get level 3 configuration, you don't get the head-up display, which means everything's now based on this screen. But one way around that, though, is to put this into go-kart mode. And then when you put that into go-kart mode, you get to fully take advantage of the big OLED display here with big dials and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that you can do to circumvent that. Also, in go-kart mode, things become a bit more responsive. It makes things a bit sportier in general in the car. One thing that I wanted to point out, though, is with this round display, Apple CarPlay, for example, it's this square screen on a big circle. And I just think it doesn't sit well in terms of user interface. It would be nice if that just filled the whole screen and took full advantage of all the extra space that's just now useless on either side, or they could have put something else there at the same time. But regardless, that's minor. I think the more you drive the car, the more you get used to certain things and you get used to that kind of stuff in the car. Back to the driving though, in terms of handling, I think this nails it in every way in terms of that go-kart feeling that we've known with Minis in general. And even with the weight of the car, how heavy this is, it's not an issue. It still handles those corners very well. There's plenty of grip. Even the steering is a bit better weighted and has more engagement with the road. And as you're driving, as you're pointing the steering, it goes where you want it to go. It's very agile, very nimble. I keep using these words, but it is what it is. It just goes where you want it to go. It's very responsive. And my favorite part of the car is the fact that when you get a JCW, you don't get this because you want it to be quiet or you want to be, you want to be humble on the road. You want the noise with it. And this is exactly what this delivers. That quad exhaust on the back, you get really good sound quality out of it. And it just sounds fantastic. You put your foot down, even when you start the engine, it just sounds really good. Like, oh, just sounds good. And then obviously you got this experiences mode that you can switch to different modes and stuff like that, which is where you put into go-kart. In fact, let's do that now. We're gonna go to all the way down. that was hilarious because it gives you different sound effects every time you scroll through them. So if I go all the way to the bottom, so you have trail, so if you're gonna go off-roading, for example, like we did a little bit of that earlier. So you get that sound effect, and then it changes the display, and then we go all the way up, which is where our go-kart bit is. So we go all the way up there. One thing that's good is you can change it whilst you're driving. It gives you that sound effect to let you know you're now in go-kart mode, which goes woohoo! And also the exhaust just goes woo. It sounds tensed up, ready to do something different. And now I can't even see my Apple CarPlay. It's disappeared on the screen, but You even get louder sounds as well from the fake exhaust noise coming out of the speakers now, so it sounds a bit louder in the car, because at the end of the day, it's still 4-cylinder, so you know, it sounds like it's something else, but it sounds louder, sounds more exciting, ready to go. I'm just gonna take it off that for now because it's a bit louder, a bit too loud for me right now. So I'll put it back into core mode, which is just the standard mode. So things go back to a bit more tamed sort of vibe, but it's still loud though. And then we can have our CarPlay back on the screen. But yeah, back onto driving experience. That's the sort of things you can do. Change different drive mode to suit your mood, which I don't think many cars give you that sort of experience really, apart from changing like the ambient lighting and stuff like that in the car and the dial color and whatnot. And this Mini said would do about 35 miles to the gallon. That's something I can't really test with my short period of time with the car, but hopefully maybe we'll get it on a longer term at some point and we can test that out. But generally, overall, I think handling is great. There's plenty of equipment in it in terms of safety equipment, plenty of tech in here as well. The braking, the high performance brakes feels really good. You tap it, it's very responsive. It doesn't feel too harsh as well. Mainly the only downside for me is the fact that you don't get the comfortability that you expect from that adaptive suspension that's in here. So for example, right now, as we're driving, you can feel all the speed bump or the bumpy road. You can really feel them. So it's quite stiff in terms of how it feels on the road. Oh, you go over that speed bump there and it's quite harsh on your back and just the way you feel. So those massage seats will come in handy. But on the motorway though, that's no issue. When the road is nice and smooth and stuff, it just handles it well. It's nice and smooth, comfortable, there's no issues at all. Visibility is great as well, all around the car. In fact, I feel kind of like small right now. I just sat here and I'm 5'11", so I might have to raise my seats and all that stuff to feel a bit more bigger in here, but I fully feel like I'm sat in this sort of cocoon of a car. But yeah, it's a big car and it feels comfortable to ride to a certain extent. It would be nice if it was more comfortable though. But yeah, there we have it. Good drive experience. It's fun to drive in a true Mini way, especially John Cooper Works way. But yeah, if this is your first time around here, please do subscribe. As always, let us know what you think of this as well. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll answer those questions. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.